Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And the Infamous Podcast has arrived. If you watch
Are you
AEW,
happy I
you
didn't
get
do
that.
the
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Are you happy I didn't do the
Yeah, I am. So, anyway, we got a big episode. This episode is episode 325, The Fall and Fall of G4TV. So this will be a really interesting conversation today. Darryl, how you doing?
Doing well.
Doing
it's
well.
Friday.
Yeah. It's Friday. I'm
It's see the
standing
Bengals.
today. I'm not sitting.
Yeah.
You know, I've been like,
I'm sitting right now.
I've been going back and forth. You know, having the standing desk is just a nice change of pace, if you know what I mean. But before we get started, there's been a bunch of celebrity deaths happening lately, and there's one that actually got me, and his name was Robert Paulson.
Meatloaf.
Yeah, Meatloaf, man. Meatloaf died. He was 74. He was, Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Classic. I Would Do Anything for Love. I think that's what that song's actually called. Classic.
But I won't do that.
But he won't. Bad Out of Hell, Bad Out of Hell 2. He died next to his wife, and just kind of passed away. He was 74. So I got to say, he was looking really good lately. Like, I'd seen him on a few things here and there. And he lost a bunch of weight. Looked really good. So
Yeah. I saw Britt Baker post a picture.
yeah,
that
with
she took
the two of them where he's
recently.
holding the women's title. It's anyway, just super sad. Kind of bummed out. So I was rocking out to Meatloaf at the gym this morning, and it was a nice cathartic little 8-mile run. So anyway,
Okay, Rabbit.
yeah. So, dude, I've lost 24 pounds since Thanksgiving.
That's
So-
awesome, man.
Yeah, and I'm on an all meat diet now, so I'm going to lose a bunch more weight and get really lean, which is great. I haven't lost any strength yet because I was still doing like 315 on deadlifts yesterday, 5x5, or Wednesday. Anyway, the other thing, I want to give 2 shout outs to Instagram accounts that follow me and that I follow. The first one is the Mid-Ohio Jedi Order. They're awesome. They do a bunch of cool stuff. Definitely check them out. They do a bunch of giveaways. They're just a really good group. Star Wars fans from Ohio. Got to follow them. Check it out. Links in the show notes. And then the other is Old Republic Collectibles LLC and Yakface, obviously. Go follow them. Buy some stuff from them. They're just trying to make it. They're veteran-owned, family-owned. Well worth, getting stuff from them. They ship fast. They do pre-orders. They're pretty awesome. So, And lastly, just shameless self-promotion. Go follow us on Patreon. We're doing awesome stuff for you guys lately. You should at least spend $3 a month to enjoy all of this free content.
I second that
As I
emotion.
bang my microphone stand, like, go follow it, mother. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and as they say, hop right into it with the funniest news of the day. Miss Marvel in trouble. New casting and significant reshoots reported months after filming wrapped. This is never a good sign. Never, ever a good sign when something goes back to do reshoots long after it's been done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I didn't realize this was done filming in May.
Yeah, it's been done for a while. Anyway, it's supposed to come out summer 2022. I can't imagine it's going to meet that deadline with all the stuff that they're doing. I think the most egregious thing, and this is, again, people at Marvel not understanding the entry-level people that Marvel hires to do these jobs not understanding Marvel. So Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, who actually started out as a pretty decent character and then got completely oversaturated and then got all weird, right? Her powers are like stretchy, kind of like Mr. Fantastic. I liken her closer to Plastic Man or Elongated Man, the way she like grows and does everything. And she gets the big giant fist. And honestly, if she just got the big giant fist and like with the stretchy arm, that would be a cool power, right? And she can swing on it, like just cool. But no, she can get bigger and stretch and all that fun stuff. She doesn't get like super skinny or anything, but she's an Inhuman, which I don't know if they've retconned that yet or not, because the Inhumans are kind of a non sequitur these days because it failed so epically on TV and in the comics. But I will say the thing that they were going to do is change her powers to be more like hard light, like Green Lantern, which is pretty stupid. And I mean, ever since they've announced like casting and things like that, this show's been hit by like, well, this person is not what this person is in the comics, so we don't want to do this person. Like, we don't want to root for this. And it's like, Marvel, tell these people to shut the fuck up and just try and enjoy the show. And then Marvel, shut the fuck up and tell your actors to just act and enjoy being in the show.
Yes and yes.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple here. Here's the. I'm going to give Marvel a secret. Go back to your phase 1 and 2 formulas where you make the characters like the characters and you make the characters interesting, even the ones that nobody knows about, and even the ones who are kind of insufferable.
Yeah, and I'll second that what you said about Kamala Khan. I did read a little bit, of the Miss Marvel thing, and again, she was okay. I honestly, despite the tire fire that it was for the first year of its life, and I haven't gone back to it in a while, but Marvel's The Avengers game, I really liked her character in that game.
She was my favorite character to play as.
She was so much fun to play as.
She wasn't the most powerful, but like she was the most versatile. So I liked her.
I really had a lot of fun with that character. And once again, and this is a newer character, and they're doing the same thing that her power set is fine in the sense of it's, as far as what's in the MCU now, it would be very unique in the current state of the MCU because we don't have a Mr. Fantastic or anything like that. But the idea of changing her powers to a light-based set or anything like that,
well,
it's pretty freaking stupid.
I think what it is, right, is they're going to try and give her a power set closer to Carol's.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
But the thing is she wasn't empowered by the Kree or by Carol or by, in the case of Captain, Sassy Pants, the Tesseract, or was it the Tesseract? Yeah, it was the Tesseract.
Yeah.
That Marvel was trying to use, or Miss Marvel, if you will. But yeah, so I mean, just like stick to the thing. Make her a fucking Inhuman. Who gives a shit? Make her a mutant. I don't really care. And then but people are complaining because she's too light skinned and she's not enough this and not enough that, and it's just, And
I will just say this: this is what happens when you try to play that card of appeasement. It's never enough.
Yep.
So instead of doing that, you know what you should do? Make good stories.
Or
make interesting characters.
If you feel like you have to do that to make the character interesting, because a lot of these newer Marvel characters just are not interesting at all, just don't make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't make it.
So I'm going to tell you right now, what is it? Moon Knight, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys who wrote that, I forget what they did. They did something really dumb. Hold on.
That's kind of apropos for what we've seen.
Yeah, it's the showrunners. They made something that nobody likes. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. Wait, is that right?
Now, I know we had a little difference of opinion on the trailer for Moon Knight a little bit.
Oh, the trailer is 100% a bait and switch, and it's
and that's the one thing I fear that you're right about, because it's happened in let's see, Loki. It's happened in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Hawkeye did a good job of. Actually, Hawkeye was the one I thought it was definitely a bait and switch, and I was pleasantly surprised with that. I really enjoyed the Moon Knight trailer. I again, it's more like show and tell, show and prove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's got some just ill will to make up. Man, what, I forget what they wrote or whatever. It was some shitty comic that nobody liked, but they're the ones who are doing it. But yeah, it's here we go. Jeremy Slater. What was it that he did? Oh, he was the writer of Fanforstic.
Wait a minute, the 2016 version?
Yes.
Or whenever that was, the most recent.
But yeah, Fanforstic.
Oh my god. That was...
Yeah, he's the head writer on this. So he has no regard for accuracy in anything that he does. And I think he wrote part of season 2 of Umbrella Academy, which was far inferior to season 1. Anyway, so
not on the right foot. Let's just so that's what you're saying.
Yeah, not on the right foot at all.
Yeah.
All right.
But
so
I do hope it proves us wrong. I really do. But yeah, Hawkeye proved me wrong. So
sure.
Hope that does the same thing.
All right. Let's talk about Boba Fett, Disney princess. So Tamura Morrison came out and said that Boba Fett talks far too much in his Star Wars Solo series, and it's really sad when the guy that played Jango Fett in some clones is telling Jon Favreau and Robert Rodriguez, he's talking too much. He should not be talking this much, and he's trying to pawn off lines on Ming-Na. It's just, yeah, I love the quote. "Excuse me, director. I really feel like Ming-Na should say these lines because I want to stay mysterious. I want to stay quiet." And it's like, yeah. And
yeah.
It's really funny because there was they were sharing a story, Tamura and Ming-Na, where Jon Favreau had to take off and do something and left Noah Clore behind, and they were trying to like browbeat him into getting their way, which is pretty funny. But yeah, and then it's like, "I got a call from Atlanta. John wants you to say all that dialogue. We'll cut it out later," laughs. So he was even keeping an eye on us from all areas when they were talking about Favreau. But yeah, I have not watched the 4th episode. I know you did. I have not watched the 4th episode of Peacemaker,
I watched the first 5 minutes of and yeah, and Peacemaker I just didn't feel like watching that type of show.
Sure.
It wasn't like it was bad or anything.
Yeah.
Boba Fett, like the first 5 minutes of episode 4 were, oh my god, it was now again, that's 5 minutes, but it was still it was terrible from every angle. It was terrible. And even though there wasn't much happening, like you saw the green, like there's Boba Fett was on a Bantha and it looked so fake. It was embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And yeah, we got more of the Power Rangers biker gang.
Ew.
Which, yeah. So the funny thing about this, and this is a reason why you don't anoint someone as the savior of a property.
Oh, you mean
because
Favreau?
Yeah, or even in Feige, because I mean, considering what's going on in the MCU or MCU now, it's not looking good.
No.
Yeah, Spider-Man notwithstanding, but
and they didn't learn the right lessons from Spider-Man. After the first 10 days of Spider-Man being out, every Marvel thing that was in production should have immediately stopped. They should have thrown away everything that they had and gone back to the drawing board.
Yes,
100%. And like even like the Hawkeye, like they should have erased like whatever they hadn't done yet and started over. But yeah, I just, well, okay. It's been very well documented in the almost 7 years that I've been doing this show that I do not like Boba Fett. Not at all. When he showed up
a little bit,
not even a little bit. When he like Live Volcano, that's my favorite. I just want to throw everyone in the Live Volcano that I don't agree with. Anyway, not agree with. Let me rephrase that. That I just don't like. Anyway, I cannot agree with you and still like you.
Yeah,
but no, I just, but then when he showed up on The Mandalorian, I told you, and I said it on here a couple times, God damn it, they made me like him. I was like, motherfucker.
And then,
yeah. And then, so then I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if this is how it's going to be, I might be interested in Book of Boba Fett. No. Another just pussification of a character that did not need to be pussified, did not need to have, his helmet off at all scenes, does not need to be in a bacta tank all the time. Like he went all that time without being in a bacta tank.
And now he has to have one.
And now he has to have one. It's like, come on, John, this is your character. This is the thing that you did. And Robert Rodriguez, you got the benefit of directing the shortest episode of The Mandalorian to date. And it hid all of your shortcomings as a storyteller.
Yeah. And one of the things I did read, there was a comment on one of these articles where it said, I think one of the things about The Mandalorian is that, like, it was, what did he say? It was something about, just not only was it Baby Yoda, but there was something else that they mentioned that covered up the flaws in that show, which, again, I think The Mandalorian was done better, much better than what we currently have with Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, The Mandalorian's a little boring at times, but like it's also kind of what the story is. There's a nice mundanity to it. I don't know if that's even a word or not. Mundanation, if you will. True and non-shamana pressure, with some Batakath care put in there. And it's I can't believe I got that right. I can't believe I got that right. Words are hard unless I make them up myself or some senile man. Anyway.
What did Thor say? All words are made up.
Yep, all words are made up. You really are the worst, Darryl. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch the rest of the series. Like, I'm not.
Absolutely,
out yet, but I really kind of just. I don't.
This is the thing with the show where it is now, and our attitude about it. Having to watch it every week to talk about it, I think would probably color our opinions, and we probably wouldn't give it as fair of a shake as we will, knowing that we can watch it whenever we want. You know what I mean?
I think the other thing too is like I forget what happened because it's kind of boring.
Nothing
happened.
Nothing really happened.
Yeah. Like other than the Power Rangers showing up without their Power Ranger armor, or Captain Planet,
Black
the Planeteers. Yeah, but even that was a nothing burger.
Yeah.
They just let him go.
Yeah. And Stephen Perry, I don't know if you read that article from the Shadows. He's a novelist for the Shadows of the Empire.
Yep. And
he eviscerated. Like that was the quote of the article. He eviscerated, and he absolutely did. He, like, the best line was like, "The stupid is strong here," and he talked about the Power Rangers things. He talked about Boba Fett taking off his helmet, which, by the way, that just is one of those things that gets on my nerves every time he takes off his helmet. I mean, that's part. One, that's part of your lore, and two, that's to keep you safe.
Yeah, what happened to This Is the Way? I know what happened to This. Yeah, I'm being facetious.
And again, we're not the only ones who are having issues with it, because if you looked at Rotten Tomatoes, take it with a grain of salt, but the first week or so, it was at 84% as far as fan ratings. This week, it has dropped down to 64%. Right.
And here's the thing with Rotten Tomatoes, the one thing you need to know is it's a fan aggregated score, and you can review bomb good or bad. That's a thing that happens.
Yes.
But the other thing that you have to take into account is that just because it's not good, like, you don't have to review it, but like there are all these access media shills out there who are they have to say nice things about it because they want Disney to keep inviting them back to things. They want to get that free 3-night experience on their on the Star Cruiser hotel.
And let's be honest, that in itself taints the review process.
Oh, yeah.
You can't say it doesn't, because, and yes, people might like things that we don't like, and they might genuinely like it. But when you have that type of pressure to say, hey, if I give this a bad, even if I don't like these 3 things in a row from this company, and I say that, they're going to take up my access. And it's happening, when I've listened to some of the gamers that I listen to, as far as, they don't get invited to this thing because, and particularly Call of Duty in the last couple years ago, where there were a couple years in a row where Call of Duty, some of these YouTubers did not like it. And guess what? They didn't get invited to the Call of Duty, capturing event the next year.
Right.
So don't tell me that isn't a problem and that isn't happening, because it absolutely is. And a lot of these people, like you said, they want that golden ticket. So they're going to have to massage a review where, they would call something terrible. They would say, this has promise. This is okay. This does this well. And it's tough to believe. That's why I say I find on YouTube, I only use YouTube reviewers that I know and that I can look at their history and say, okay, I have a similar taste that as they do. So I can more or less trust that they're coming. Well, one, I can trust that they're being honest. And 2, I can trust and say, okay, they like that. We have similar tastes, so I might like that. So that's where I go. I don't use the Access Media, never use them because of that. They're compromised. And, again, that doesn't mean all of them, shill, but a good deal of them do shill.
It doesn't mean Access, just because you're Access Media doesn't mean you're a shill, but being Access Media, you're a shill. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I just think it's a huge letdown. I think this is just indicative of Disney Star Wars and,
and Disney in general. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, just the current thing. And there's some rumors going around that there's changes that are going to happen and blah blah blah. That's been a rumor for 2 years. I don't believe it.
Yeah, like I said, show me the proof, and then
show me the receipts. So
yes.
All right, let's move on to some good news. Supes and Lolo. The ties that bind. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Did you say ish?
I said ish.
You didn't like it?
No, I actually did.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna be one of those this is absolutely the worst Superman and Lois that I've seen to date.
How dare you?
And but see, that's again a bait and switch, because I still liked it.
Yeah, I get it. I will say 1.57 million, almost 500,000 more people watched The Ties That Bind than What Lies Beneath, because What Lies Beneath was a great season premiere.
What lies beneath? No. What lies beneath you, it devours, or something like that. It's from Buffy.
From beneath you, it devours.
From beneath you, it devours. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that season existed. So, okay. So Clark is having these visions. It's not just a weird panic attack thing, right? It's these visions. And in this episode, the visions coincide with, the tremors in Smallville, which, we find out it's a being, right? But Clark's like, well, there's one person I can talk to. And he goes to talk to Tal Rowe, Morgan Edge, his half brother. And I love the guy that plays Tal Rowe. Whose name like him. Just slipped out of my head, so I gotta move up here to the cast. But no, I'm a big fan of Adam Rayner. I'm a big fan of the Tal Rowe character in this series. And he's powerless. He's hanging out under the red kryptonite, or the red sun, keeping him pretty much depowered. And Clark's like, and I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff at the beginning. Clark's like, no, we got to figure this out. And I loved that Jordan was like, hey, let me go with you. I got your back. I got to protect you. And Clark thinks about it for a second and then does the right thing and takes him with him. Right. Mm-hmm. In a normal CW show, Clark's like, no, I'll be fine. I'm having these debilitating visions. Just let me go off on my own. But no, this was good writing. And I'll tell you why. Every episode that they have listed right now has 2 writers written by is a team. So this one was Kristi Korzec and Michael Narducci. They both wrote in the first season. Maybe they didn't. Michael Narducci did. Michael Narducci wrote a couple in the first season, but Kristi Korzec has not. And I love this. I love the idea of like a writing team, so they can be like, hey, wait a second, like let's and it's not just the writers' room, right? You have the writers' room, but we know what the Supes and Lolo writers' room was like at the beginning with that lady like, let's make the Kents black because reasons. So anyway, so they go and he's like, because Clark's going to go to Tauro's fortress by himself. And you know, everyone's like, that's going to be booby trap, dude. Like, what are you thinking? You're Superman. Be smarter than this. So he goes and he works. And here's the great thing. He didn't just go break him out, right? He went and he talked to the government. He's like, hey, I'm going to borrow this prisoner. And the government's like, sure, just take him.
Again, in most shows, he would have broke him out, and you know he would have egg on his face if Tauro had gotten away.
Oh, and he absolutely would have gotten away had he broke him out, right?
Yes,
100%.
We know this.
Yes,
absolutely.
We know this to be true because this is how the CW works. But anyway, so he gets him. Him and Jordan and Tauro show up. And then Tauro's like, oh, well, I got someone you can talk to. And lo and behold, it's Clark's mommy, Laura.
Mommy.
And I don't know if you caught this. It was kind of a throwaway line. But Tauro goes, this is her before she was corrupted by Darryl.
Yeah, I did.
It's like, that's cool. I like that. That's interesting. Like, it's a different, like, we've never seen this version of Laura before. We haven't really seen much of Laura L. But, it was really cool. And, you know, I loved that she tells him what it is. And this was the greatest use of a commercial break. Because it went to commercial and we came back and it was something completely different. So I was like, well, what was it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was one of those where, because I wasn't sure where I was in the show, and I was thinking, if they leave off right there, I'm going to rage. And then they come back, and like you said, it's something totally different. And like, come on, man. But one thing I really liked about the whole Laura and Tauro thing was him showcasing his feelings of abandonment towards her. And I think, especially after the conversation he has later with Clark, when Clark brings him back and he's like, she thinks there's good in me, do you? And Clark says, and I was actually kind of surprised he said it. He's like, Clark says no, but I hope so. I think they're kind of setting up a redemption arc for Tauro somewhere down the line. I don't know how quickly, but and again, I'm kind of colored with what I usually expect from the CW of him, you know, turning and to give his life or something, which again, a little bit derivative, but I like the character and I like the actor so much.
I don't want him to give his life. Like, I want him to stick around for a little bit.
No,
like,
I don't.
So
yeah, I do too. And I want it to be kind of like that slow build of him slowly, not doing a overnight face turn.
Right. So,
but maybe helping here and there, but still keeping some of that anger towards Clark, even though it's misplaced as it is, and anger towards, I think that would be a good way to slowly build his character.
So I feel like the anger is more towards Laura than it is towards Clark.
Yeah.
So,
and well, it absolutely is, but Clark is there, and Clark is more of a reminder.
I get it. But so they're at the fortress, like they're going through. Clark has one of his episodes, and then Tauro breaks free, and he's like, I'm not as drunk as you thought I was. And Jordan's like, you need to stop right there. And I love it. He goes, we've had this encounter before, nephew. And it was like, oh, dude, this is so great. And then I loved that Jordan's like, yeah, no, I got this. And like, like we talked about this last week, his powers have grown because we got to see 3 months later, right? Like over summer break, he's been working on his powers and things like that. And the look on Tauro's face, right? And it was just enough to slow him down for Clark to snap out of it and then lay a gigantic beat down on him.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like how we didn't have to, that 3 month skip. It skips a lot, but I like it in the sense of a narrative pacing as far as for Jordan's development.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
it was
Buffy
kind
did
of like
that
when,
too, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
they did.
Buffy
And
did that really well using the quote unquote summer break.
right. And I just like, that was, I liked everything about, pretty much about the Clark, Laura, Tauro, Jordan storyline. There were other storylines I didn't like as much, and we've talked about this off air, and we'll go into that. But now, what was it that Laura actually said that it was? Because I remember hearing it, but I didn't get a chance to go back and listen to exactly what she said the issues are with Clark.
So it's because he's tied to another being. And
Okay,
this is Doomsday. And it's unfortunate that they're going to the Doomsday well so early, and I think it's a giant misstep. It's like Star Trek Discovery going to the mirror universe immediately, right? It's like you're so not ready to do this show right that you're just mirror universe, like the simplest thing.
It also goes along the lines of how Batman v Superman did it. Yeah. And this not only incorporating Batman in what should have been Superman 2, but also incorporating the Doomsday storyline and the death of Superman in his second freaking movie. Now, I don't think this show is going to do anything as ridiculous as that.
Right.
Hopefully. But I still think that a character as impactful as Doomsday is way too early in the game to do this.
So if we do get Doomsday, though, I think the nice thing is you have Tauro to play the Booster Gold part to take the first punch. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, why not? There is no Booster Gold in this universe, so why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just one of those things. It's like, all right, let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens. And at the end of the day, this show is obviously more than just Superman, which is nice. We got a lot of good Lois stuff. We're going to meet Lucy at some point this season. I'm assuming in the back half. And I'm not even bothering to look to see if they've cast her yet. I don't want to know who it is.
Okay.
I mean, did you look?
By the way.
Oh, okay, fine. Go ahead.
No, I didn't look, but I saw. What'd you say?
Then go ahead.
No. Oh no, it's the same actress that played Lucy in Supergirl. I don't know her name.
I don't remember. I don't think I got that far for Lucy to show up.
Yeah, I just remember seeing her, and when I would see.
Oh wait, was she in the first season? Wasn't she dating like Jimmy Olsen or something like that? Or I'm sorry, James Olsen.
Oh jeez, I don't know. You can't tell me anything. Like, ask me anything about Supergirl. I just don't know.
Yeah, I've kind of blocked it all out. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
I do remember Red Tornado in the first season.
Yeah, Red Tomato was definitely in the first season. Anyway, so there's this whole like story going on at the Gazette, and Kristi, is it Kristi?
Kristi, you're right.
Yeah, she's the worst character. Maybe she could get in the way and take Doomsday's first punch.
Now, you were talking about the whole thing with A-Train. That would absolutely be an A-Train moment.
Ooh, there we go. Someone can just run right through her. Here's the thing: is in the first season she was not bad. She was an interesting character, and now she's whiny and just like pissy. And it's like I don't like the way her and Lois interact now. It's very adversarial.
Yeah.
And I get it. Lois has to keep secrets from her and all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, the whole thing where she's trying to push Lois, like, well, what was the story? You did this story, and now it's come up, and this podcast released this audio, and Lois finally reveals, like, well, I had a source who was in the cult, and she's like, well, let's just get the person. She's like, it was my sister. And like the one thing that Kristi did was I did like, giving credit, and I think the actress, and I gotta remember her name too, She was like, oh well, she was just like a little bit in the cult, right? And it's like, nah, she was like number 2, and I kind of feel like we're gonna get, and I feel like they're doing this because of Sophia Hasmick. I think they're doing this as like ripped from the headlines, and it's gonna be like a NXIVM thing. And Lucy is gonna be on trial at some point.
Yeah.
So
I got that, the whole rip from the headlines idea too, just about everything they've done so far with her.
Why is there an
arc.
LL brand on all of these women's inner thighs? So just saying.
Now, and also we're, one of the best supporting couples in a show, Kyle and Lana, are strong again this week, where Lana is, TLDR, she's going to be running for mayor now against the current mayor. I don't remember his name. It's not important enough to remember. But I just love the dynamic between these two, because we continually talk about good writing. And so many shows, you have these supporting characters, and to make them interesting, they have to go out there, do an illicit affair or something along those lines. Right. If you're good enough, life is you can make their life as interesting enough without having to do these, extramarital or extemporaneous circumstances. And that's what you see here, where, they had a rough patch in the beginning of the first season. And then toward the end of the season, Kyle was an ass. And then toward the end of the season, you actually saw that Kyle was so much more than that.
Right.
And
did you think that she was going to say Kyle should run?
No, I thought it was going to be her.
Okay.
I absolutely thought it was going to be her. Now, I thought he was the one that was going to he was going to be like, hey, babe, you should be the one to do it.
Well,
and that's what he did.
But like, she had already filled out the paperwork, which was great.
Right.
I mean, it was just a nice bit of a married couple simpatico.
Yeah. And I really like that. I really like these two, and I love their chemistry going, their back and forth. And we talked about it last week in the first episode. I really like, Kyle's protectiveness he had over Superman, where, they were sitting there waiting for Sarah to get off the bus, and, all this merchandise is being sold. And, Kyle doesn't really like that, because, like Superman is he's more than that. He's us. And,
right.
Just making him, some type of, paraphernalia to sell to the public.
Yeah.
So I really like their story, and I'm really curious to see where it goes in the sense of her running for mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And like, I think she's going to like kind of evoke a lot of the Ma Kent like sentiment about Smallville, and like she's like, Martha Kent is gone and I'm here, and there's all that. And then we had Jonathan. I really hope they don't make Jonathan a narc.
I don't think they'll. No, I won't say I don't. I don't know if they're going to do that, or if Jonathan's going to look for some way to get an edge, whether it be steroids or accidentally get an kryptonite. I would think it would be more the steroids route.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's really interesting as far as the narc part. I was thinking more along the lines of him saying, hey, I think this guy's on something, so I need to be on something to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we saw the one villain at the very beginning of the episode take like the breath of the Jason Todd-esque serum. Yeah. But it's not the same thing, because that was fear, like gas, and he made him super strong. And we saw the superettes.
Tog. Yeah, and we saw Tog this time. Tog.
Yeah, so
Tog Hooer.
Anyway. But yeah, no, it was all good, and it was fun. I mean, this is a good episode. I liked it. And I think it's funny that you think this might have been the worst episode. And
I was kind of tongue in cheek, but because it had some of those CW-esque moments with the whole Sarah kissing someone at camp, the right now, for now, the cookie cutter scientist who has the, working with somebody in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
The Lieutenant Anderson, he really reminds me at this point of Director Hayward from, WandaVision, where he's that adversary in the sense of not necessarily that he's going to do the stuff that Hayward does, but adversarial to the protagonist without necessarily having to be. Although, Monica Rambeau had her part to play in that as well.
Yeah.
But so that's why it was kind of tongue in cheek in the sense of, this is the worst so far. The worst of what we've gotten with Superman and Lois is better than 90% of the best of other shows of this ilk out there.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So
all right. So are you ready to do a rating?
Yeah.
All right. So out of 5 not depowered uncles, what do you give it?
So I give it a still a solid 3.5. Again, there were some definitely CWS things that we kind of called from last week. We still don't know 100% about the whole Doomsday thing. So there's still some mystery there and why Clark is experiencing this, or what their take is going to be on why Clark is experiencing this. So and again with the whole Lana running for mayor, there's some good normal folk stuff baked into the superhero stuff, and that's what makes this show so enjoyable, because we don't just get this superhero thing, we get everyday life stuff, and that's just a boon to help this show become more than a superhero drama. And so 3.5, not the strongest outing, but it's still very enjoyable and still have a lot of fun watching this.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right with you, 3.5. My 3.5s are rated a little different than yours. Just the way it is. But no, I thought it was a fine episode. I think that hopefully we get more Tauro, and he's not just like,
yes,
every once in a while. But yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, this is a great show. I enjoy it. I look forward to it. I watch it twice. So anyway, so next week it's called The Thing in the Mines, and it's directed again by Gregory Smith. So
maybe it's a cave troll.
Maybe. I mean, it very well could be. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
So.
Clark better put on some mithril plating.
Yeah.
If it is.
Yeah. So. Anyway. All right, let's move on to our last topic. We're not going to talk about this for forever because it's been covered in great detail, and the links to the people we're going to refer to in the articles are all in the show notes. So if you want to check it out. So G4TV is back. I'm going to give a little context here, personal context, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes.
I loved G4 back in the day. Even Tech TV. I love Tech TV. I love G4. Kevin Rose was like a hero for a while and all of that. And they, it was irreverent. It was geek culture. It was really kind of the very first thing that made us comic book nerds and D&D nerds and video game nerds and whatever, all feel like, yeah, we belong, and it was in my 20s. Anyway, late 20s, early 30s. But it's just one of those things where it was like, this is really cool. There were a bunch of really cool shows. Attack of the Show was 100% appointment viewing for me. And when Attack of the Show went off the air, that's when I cut the cord on cable. Actually, when G4 went, seriously, when G4 shut down and it became the Esquire network, I was like, yeah, no, I don't need cable anymore. This was the only thing I watch that I need it for. So middle of last year, second half of last year, it announced that G4 was coming back, and it was going to come back as a YouTube channel and a series, a bunch of standalone YouTube channels, and they were bringing back Attack of the Show, and they were bringing back X-Play. Now, X-Play was a video game review show that was hosted by Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. And Morgan Webb is not back on the show. It's Adam Sessler and this woman named Indiana Black who goes by Frosk. And I told you Morgan Webb didn't come back because her back was already broken from carrying Adam Sessler all those years before. So, I mean, she was great. She was an amazing host. I mean, you know, Frosk mentions her and like how pretty she was and that stuff, but like she knew her shit. She didn't have to read scripts that other people wrote. So there's that. But on an episode of X-Play last week, Frosk just stops in the middle of what she's doing and reads from a teleprompter about all this sexism and gaming and just all this like victim, like she's this big victim of things and going on and on and on and on. And it's like, now she's targeting like people who watch the show and people in the live chats, and like G4 has like turned off their chats. If you want to comment on their Reddit post now, you have to have like subbed for like a month. They lost thousands of followers because of this. And this is a fledgling channel, right? This is not what you want to do right at the beginning. And so, you know, this Frost person was known as a color commentator for the League of Legends Pro League and the League European Championships, which she got fired from because she like caused a big like uproar. But with this time, she's all like, she's been wrong about a lot of things. And she says like, oh, I read these scripts. And it's like, so you don't actually play the game. So where's your credibility now? Like, how do I trust anything that you are saying to me? Like, same with Adam Sessler at this point, because she's like, we read from the same script. And it's like, well, great. I don't trust him either now. Then good job. Way to ruin the credibility of the reviews. Why don't you trot the person who wrote the review out there? I much prefer hear what they thought about it.
Yeah. And we just said that when we were talking about, the Rotten Tomatoes reviews is, if I believe you're compromised in any way, shape, or form, and in this case they're compromised by the sense of they admit that they're the one, they don't write the reviews, why should I listen to you then? Why I want to listen to someone who played the freaking game and to give me an honest review. And get, just like the people that I listen to for movies, I have a small selection of video game reviewers that I listen to. And you know how I know that they're good? Because they take their time with it. And these are in-depth 20 to 50 minute reviews. Some of these guys do, or some of these guys do, that I know they wrote their own script.
Right. Yeah.
When they do this.
And the games, the game reviews come out like not on like the first day necessarily, because video game companies don't typically give out screeners to play. But yeah, so it's just one of those things that it's like, okay, you've gone now and you've completely ruined like the credibility. And now she's bragging about how like, oh, I've got more followers and I've made all this money and like, whatever. I think she's lying. Okay. But but at the cost of G4, you've done this.
Yeah. So imagine if, because we both know sports and athletics and all this stuff. Imagine if you're on a team and one of your teammates does or says something that, costs the team. And then he says, well, I don't care. We got this penalty and, we probably lost the game for it because you know why? Mm-hmm. I got a lot of followers. I got a nice, hefty bonus from my sponsor for this.
Right.
No, the fact that she said something like that when,
oh yeah.
Again, I think she's lying too. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But even if that was true, you don't like, that's how narcissistic someone like this is. And it's not just from that statement. It's just everything she's done and said since that little tantrum she threw.
Right.
She can't take responsibility in it. I actually saw, I think it was on Reddit. I don't remember the Redditor's name, that he said, look, they're not attacking you because you're a woman. They're attacking you because you admitted here that you don't write these reviews. Right. And even the stuff you said was wrong. Like she said that, she thought the PlayStation was a dead man walking because of, it's so hard to get and all this stuff, and Xbox this and Xbox that. Again, granted, this was before the purchase of, when the $70 billion purchase of Activision, which is something totally different. But she forgot to mention 5 PlayStation 5s are there are 5.5 million more PlayStation 5s out in circulation that have been purchased than there are Xboxes.
She called it the dead platform, right? It's a dead man walking platform. And it's like, it isn't, and there's a ton of PS5 games out there. And
this year for the PS5,
the list of games that you sent. Hold on, let me pull up that email real quick, because you had a bunch of stuff in there. So Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, Sifu, Dying Light 2, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, Elden Ring, GTA 5 Online for PS5, WWE 2K, 2K22,
God of War,
Ragnarok,
which I don't know when
DLC for what's AC?
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay, there you go. And then Destiny 2, the Witch Queen DLC coming in February. Across all things. But I mean, this is just like through March that you've shared with me here.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, I mean, these are all games that are coming out. They're all on PlayStation. Now, there's going to be, with the whole Activision, and this is obviously way after the fact of all of this happening, the Activision purchase of, or Microsoft purchase of Activision and Blizzard, there are games now that are going to probably go to be Xbox exclusive that have not been in the past. And
right. Yep.
I mean, but let's be honest, Call of Duty is kind of a shit game now anyway, right?
Yeah. And people don't buy people buy if they're going to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, they're not going to buy it for Call of Duty. You know what they're going to buy it for? They're going to buy it for something like Halo or Horizon or God of War, something like that. They're not going to buy it for a Call of Duty.
The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. I don't have the button, but I'm going to say, how dare you?
How dare you?
Thank you very much.
Oh, come on, that's funny.
I mean, on this, that was actually pretty funny. But she's been, and again, it's when people lay out the reasons why she was being criticized, she ignores that, because again, like that, the Reddit poster, he laid out the reasons, and he laid out her the attitude, and the fact that she lost her cool. And she's like, no, I never lost my cool. I never did anything. And then she has to say, well, this proves that you are a bad faith actor. What does that even mean?
Right.
People use that term. It's so nebulous. It's just like the other terms of ist and ism.
If you're calling someone a bad faith actor, you're typically the bad faith actor. Let's just call a bad faith actor a bad faith actor. But here's the thing. Just minor defense of her, right? Because this is not a hit piece on Frosk. We're not, I'd never heard of this person before. This. I know they announced her for G4, and I remember it, and I was like, okay, I don't even know who this person is. I had no idea they were going to be on XPlay. And so, to be fair, Frosk isn't wrong. I mean, there's a lot of sexism in, you look at what happened with Blizzard and all of that, and those offices and things like that. But at the same time, the feedback and the criticism she's getting is not because she's a woman, because Adam Sessler gets it too, and Adam Sessler's a fucking idiot. So, a racist, he's not a racist. Let me rephrase that. Adam Sessler's a fucking idiot who's constantly going after people who he doesn't agree with politically now. And Comcast has shat the bed with this. They built a 67,000 square foot space with an esports arena for these people. There's a bunch of studios for these people, and it is. I'm not going to say it's done. The fork is not in them yet, but they're checking the temperature right now.
Yeah.
And if they sorry, one last thing. If they were to clean house for everybody and just start fresh, I would not be surprised. Now,
I was going to say, and so you made a good point, because one, yes, you're absolutely right. There's sexism and there's sexism. There's all this ism going on in the world. The thing is, in some places it's worse than others. The problem with that is she's the one, when she starts off when saying, you give me this flack because I'm not as bangable as X, Y, and Z. By doing that, one, she diminishes, the people who she's talking about, like Morgan and Olivia Munn, even though she tries to backhand compliment them after that. And two, you're with Adam Sessler. I even put this in my notes. He did something much worse. He's done stuff much worse than her in the sense of what he's posted about people that don't agree with him. That is absolutely fireable in my opinion. It's not that he said, "Oh, these people are bad people." He said basically, these people can die, and I'll be sipping bubbly, laughing or smiling.
I mean, he's talking about his own family members and stuff. Like, I mean, this is part of the problem, right?
Yeah, I don't know him or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can say with confidence he's a piece of shit human being.
Sure.
For you to say something like that, you're absolutely a terrible human being.
Yeah. So, okay. You're 100% right. The other thing that Frost does is Olivia Munn and Morgan Webb's name came out of her mouth a lot in her rant.
Yeah.
Olivia Munn was popular. She got the job because she was pretty. 100%. Right? They did. So here's the thing. Before Olivia Munn got hired, they did this whole like contest to have different people come and host for a week, right? Anthony Carboni, who was the host of the Star Wars show for a little bit on YouTube with Andy Gutierrez, who hosts the We've Got Problems podcast with Jeff Kanata from Totally Rad Show. Anyway, like he did a week and he didn't get that job. And they ended up not hiring anyone who did the tryout, and they hired Olivia Munn. Now, here's the thing. Olivia Munn got that job because she was very pretty, but she also had personality to spare.
Mm-hmm.
She was funny. She was crazy. She was up to do anything. And like, it's like, I don't know if you're allowed to say this anymore. Like she was one of the guys, but like she was way more a guy than Kevin Pereira was. Like, all the masculine energy of that duo came from Olivia Munn, not Kevin Pereira. And I love Kevin Pereira, or loved, let me rephrase that. Like back in the day, I thought Kevin Pereira was great. After he left G4, he got really weird. And I stopped caring about him. But yeah, and then she was talking about Morgan Webb, and Morgan Webb was a fantastic reviewer, a fantastic presenter. When she would host Attack of the Show from time to time, it was great. I always enjoyed it. So she's talking about these people who are both beautiful, who were both beautiful women. They still are. Who neither one of them are involved with this, and I don't blame either one of them for not wanting to be involved because they both moved on to other things. But when she keeps talking about like, oh well, they were harassing them, it's like Olivia Munn gave as good as she got in their little bits, and then Frost did a bit where she's grabbing some dude's butt, and it's like, well, how is what you're doing any different from what you're complaining about Olivia Munn doing? And
did you see what her response was?
No, I didn't.
She was like, she was playing a character.
Great. So was Olivia Munn. That's not who Olivia Munn is. I tell you who Olivia Munn is. Olivia Munn is, like, from all accounts, a very decent person, a very nice person. And I don't normally say this about celebrities, but like, I think she's an actually really decent actress. I loved her on Newsroom as Sloane Sabbath. I thought she was great casting as Psylocke. It wasn't her fault that was a shitty movie.
Yeah, I actually liked her as Psylocke.
Right,
too.
She was really good as Psylocke. Anyway, that was like one of the lone bright spots. That and Alexandra Shipp as Storm. But Frost, we're so sexist. The two best parts of a shitty movie were the women. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, yeah, it's just,
and again,
it's just bringing
Frost,
the. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Frost is getting a lot of because she put herself out there, and so she's deservedly getting the heat. But if you look at some of the things other people are talking about as well, and this is a minor part, but it could be a bigger part, is the sense of they're reviewing games that are like 5 and 7 years old. And so that doesn't help either. And because, I was looking at their Twitter and people were asking like, dude, this game was out like 5 years ago. Why are you reviewing this?
Right.
That doesn't help on top of the controversy that Frost, and to a lesser extent, although more egregious, Adam Sessler has, tainted this relaunch with. I think they absolutely need to start fresh.
Yep.
And just say, you know what? It's not working out with you all. thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go in a different direction.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what I would do.
Go grab some of these Twitch guys and girls who are reviewing games right now. Be like, hey, look, we're gonna throw some money at you. You guys, do this for a while we figure it out. Don't make any waves. Just do cool shit. Just say good stuff.
Yeah.
And so.
And that's all. That's the thing. A lot of the comments, and I'm not naive enough to think that there aren't comments here and there that are talking about her because she's a woman. But all too often in that case, it's blown up to be more than it's one or two people, not 200 or 300 people saying that.
Right.
So that I just have a problem when people say, hey, we see people say, hey, I've been getting death threats, and you look on their Twitter, you can't find anything, and they didn't capture anything. So how do we know that?
Yeah.
But again, this is not, for a fact, the people at Comcast,
they can't be happy.
They cannot be happy.
You know what the people at Comcast are saying right now?
How dare you?
Yeah.
I laugh every
because
time.
again, all we want, like you said, do some cool shit.
Yeah.
You're talking about video games.
How hard is it to be
how
chill
hard is
when you're
that?
talking about a video game? If you have to go smoke some weed or something before you go out there to take the edge off, do it.
Yeah. It's just par for the course nowadays with these, with entertainment, where when people want to be entertained, we get inundated with shit we know's going on, but we're watching the video game shows, we're watching TV shows, we're watching movies because we want to get away from that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to, and again, we don't want to be talked at or talked down to.
Right.
Yes, if you have something to say, fine. But then when you use your broad brush and say, hey, all these people are this, that, or the other, I don't care, what you say, you're going to lose more than half your audience when you do something like that.
Yeah.
Because there would be some people that would be on your, that would be like, hey, you know what, this might be the case. But once you do that, there are people that are on your side that'll look at you differently, like, I don't know about that. And I'm not talking about the people on that far side. I'm talking about the people that are more moderate or like left or right, doesn't matter. When you go off the deep end, either side, there are people that you lose that would have championed your cause or helped champion your cause.
I went through and I unsubscribed from everything G4. Everything. Because of her.
Yeah. And again, they didn't do themselves any favors with what they did on their Reddit and, cutting off their live chats and some of the reasons and some of they were targeting people that they were deleting their comments. Yeah. Because you could see what the comments were and there was nothing wrong with those comments.
No.
So it's just, they're just snowballing it. It's what is that? The axiom, don't let a 1-day story become a 2-day story or something along those lines.
And they can't stop. They keep going after people. So
yeah.
Anyway, I think just in closing, because I think this has been well covered and everything, but don't treat fans like this. Don't just go off on a rant like this that you're not right about. This is the thing is she's wrong about a lot of it. She's right about some of it, but she's wrong about a lot of it. And the reason she got criticism is because she reports things wrong, or she's reading a script and the people who did the script were wrong and she doesn't know enough to correct it. Plain and simple. So,
it's that simple. Yeah.
Whatever. I don't ever want anyone to get fired, right? I never want anyone getting fired. But Comcast, if they want G4 to be successful, they need to do another reboot immediately.
Absolutely. Because now you're messing with their investment. And
their massive investment.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, All right.
We'll see where it goes from there.
We will. Cool. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing much is really going on.
Yeah.
For fans, Ozark did come out. Ozark season 4, part 1 came out today.
Why don't they just call it season 4 and then the next one season 5?
I don't know. That probably because if it's within the same year, even though again there's other shows that do season 4 or season X and then the next season within the calendar year. I don't know. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
But that's out. You know, the Bengals are in the playoffs Saturday, so when everybody's listening to this, hopefully, they'll be going towards the AFC Championship.
Go Oilers.
The Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. That's old school right there.
Yeah, go Oilers all the way. Mike Vrabel, man.
Yeah, he was a Patriot back in the day, but he was also a Buckeye. So.
Oh, was he? Oh, he was. Never mind. I hate Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Excellent,
Smithers.
No, I was going to be like, let the hate flow through you.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. So good Rampage tonight coming up, or well, there was a good Rampage tonight because it's Sunday. Anyway, yeah, man. AEW, go watch AEW. This past week's Dynamite was freaking awesome.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Cody Rhodes cut my favorite promo of the last 2 or 3 years.
That was very good.
And I mark out for Cody. So anyway, all right.
You know what though?
What?
You know what I'm gonna do?
Boom.
Send Hook.
Dude, send Hook, dude. So I was okay. Real quick, Hook story. Where I was talking about this. One of the guys I worked with used to wrestle, like as an enhancement talent jobber, right? And we were talking about Hook, and like he's all in on the thing too, like I am, like all the AEW fans are. He's just this kid, right? He's just a kid comes out, and everybody's pretending like he's fucking Goldberg.
Yeah,
but everybody's in on it. This is the beauty of it. It's so much fun. And yeah, it's just exciting. So and they can trot him out on Rampage every week for the next like 5 years, and he can never lose, and it would be fine. He doesn't ever have to win a title. He doesn't have to do anything of that. And then the best thing is Taz, who's his dad, is calling the match. And my favorite thing is they'll talk about some celebrity or like musician or something. He'll be like, yeah, he's a good friend of mine and a good friend of Hook's. Hook, I love it because I love how he talks about Hook, right? He's like, Hook's been doing jujitsu since he was 4. Before he could walk, he was a Taekwondo black belt. So it's pretty great. All right. On that note, I am gonna go watch some A-dubs at some point here after editing. Make sure you guys check out our friends at Mid Ohio Jedi Order and Old Republic Collectibles LLC. Links will be in the show notes to their Instagrams. And R.I.P. Meatloaf.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, I won't do that though, Darryl. Will not. All right. On that note, we will. I might start doing some midweek stuff, guys. So, girls, whatever. So we might see you before next week. So, all right. On that note, peace out.
See you.